I bet you can just guess what my focus is going to be this month. Hi everybody, it's goals time again. Every month I go through my Powersheets and set up my tending list for you. Well, it's for me, but I do it with you. Well, I do it with the camera, but then you know what I'm saying. I like to go through the whole process with you guys. As I talked about in my March Powersheets video, I am going to be relocating from Napa, California to Denver, Colorado sometime in the next couple of months. All dependent on whether and how quickly we sell this house and how quickly we're able to secure a house there, but it's for work, so it has to happen for my husband's work. Anyway, I'll be talking more about it in the upcoming months, especially in vlogs, so stay tuned for that. Now, please remember, I tend to film these a little bit earlier in the month so that I can get them out before you redo your goals in the upcoming month, so I'm never quite finished with them, but I can usually tell where I'm going with things by the time I film these videos. And so let's take a look at my March tending list and see where my goals are at. Looking at my monthly goals, as you can see, I have accomplished most of them. The big thing with the garage sale is that we're not actually doing it. We are mostly just listing individual things on Craigslist and giving other things away or donating them. An actual garage sale is not really going to be necessary, we don't think, especially since we're doing all of this decluttering and packing up front, which was something that was suggested to us by our realtor so that we could get the house looking really good to stage. And my heat just kicked on because it is pouring rain outside. I'm leaving it on. Sorry, not sorry. The only things that aren't finished here, the April Denver trip, the inventory in the house, and the scheduling the vet appointments, the reason they're not finished is because there's just stuff that's going to be finished out through the end of March. I'm rolling right along with the inventorying of the house and the decluttering and the packing, so I'm not worried about that getting done. The vet appointments are already made, but there's going to be at least one more we're going to have to schedule, but I'm not going to schedule that until we have the vet appointment next week. And as for the April Denver trip, I am literally waiting on one piece of information, and then the entire thing will be scheduled. We know what hotel we're going to be booking. We know what days we're going to be traveling. We know how it's all going to work. We just need to secure one bit of information before we actually book the trip. So I'm hoping that the day I'm filming this, I'll actually be able to do it. Fingers crossed. Looking at my weekly action items, they have been going very well, and I don't see any reason why they will not be just fine by the end of the month. I'm actually proud of how I was time batching. It was kind of a generic process, but it was really helpful in making sure that I don't cannibalize my work time for decluttering time, and thus far it has been very successful and I am thrilled with it. The daily action items though were a little bit more sketchy. I still have not really started using the hatch, which is kind of bumming me out, but like Jesse has decided he's not sure if he likes it or not, so I'm trying to kind of think through that, and it's just been low on my priority list this month. But I have been getting to bed relatively on time each night and getting up around when I want to get up most days except when I'm feeling really awful, so I feel like I'm doing okay. The hatch might need to just wait till I move. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get into a good routine with that while I'm in the middle of all this other bullshit. I also want to take a second and revisit my first quarter goals. I already updated my goals for the second quarter. I'll link that video up above. I'm not doing the quarterly refresh in this video because I thought it would be good to actually get my head around them since they were going to be changing because of the move. But I do want to check in on my quarterly action items and goals and just make sure by the end of these 3 months to know how I'm feeling about them. Goal number 1 is my community building goal for work, and my mini goal for the first quarter was to create and follow through on an all community plan. I did everything I set out to do in some form or another. I'm feeling really good about it. I have figured out what I'm doing with the podcast and what I'm doing with the Facebook group that's been punted to the third quarter just because of the move and everything else. So I'm feeling good about it. That one I can give myself a big thumbs up. Same for number 2, my systems and sustainability in my business goal. My mini goal for January through March was to create a year-long business plan, and I did that. And I had to make adjustments to it because of the move. But because I had already planned it out, making the adjustments actually felt okay because it was like moving around chess pieces. That actually made me feel less lost than if I was sort of floundering to begin with. So hell yeah. My third goal about infusing my business with aspects of creativity, create a full year creative structure. Again, I did that kind of in tandem with the business plan. I feel good about it. I need to continue to implement it in different ways. So that's something that's going to require a little bit more work, but I feel really good about the things I accomplished in this previous 3 months, especially being able to start prioritizing my creative dates with myself and starting the quarterly book clubs, which we are literally wrapping up this week. Goal number 4, my big goal of empowering my kids to be adults with a strong sense of self. My mini goal for January through March was to build successful basic habits, and I'm not really sure how we're doing on this particular goal, mostly because things have been so wackadoodle. I put a question mark. Both of my kids have made some progress, especially the one who was struggling the most with mental health because of the pandemic and everything else. We have been seeing some major breakthroughs there, and that's awesome. I'm feeling good about it, but I wouldn't necessarily say that the habits are like locked into place. That's going to be a continuing situation throughout the rest of the year. Goal number 5, create a secure, life-giving home. This is the goal that got majorly tweaked in that quarterly goals video, and my mini goal for January through March was to establish a regular cleaning plan. Kinda. Did some of it, didn't do others. Some of my energy that was going to go towards that is now going towards packing. So I'm giving myself 50-50, like a meh on this one. But not because I'm mad at myself, but mostly because priorities changed and I'm having to go with that. So I'm being flexible. Goal number 6, which was supporting my physical health with restorative habits. It was improve my sleep, and I did that. Like I said, I'm still struggling with the hatch specifically to help me wake up a little bit less hateful in the mornings, but I have basically come to terms with the fact that I need to go to bed early most nights and just be okay with it. And what I really did, I think, to help my sleep is to stop watching so much TV before bed to try and fall asleep and to just read, and that's been helpful. So I'm feeling pretty good about that one. Goal number 7, prioritizing my mental health. My mini goal was to establish a new morning routine, and I did that. And what I discovered is my morning routine is pretty fucking basic. It is to wake up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, all that, take my morning meds, throw on my furry robe, just sit and drink a cup of coffee and collect myself for the day before anybody else is awake. The big takeaway I have from this last quarter is what I really need in the mornings is a little bit of quiet time to collect myself, to let my brain come up to temperature before my kids get up, before my husband gets up, and then I can be friendly with them. But I don't want to talk to anybody for the first like half an hour in the morning, and that's what I need. And so that's what I've been working on. It doesn't require a huge morning routine. It just requires doing the basic things to make me feel not gross, to have the thing I need, which is water and coffee, which I'm totally doing, and then to just take a few minutes and either read a little bit or just kick back or take a look at my bullet journal. Like, I just need to be quiet with the lights down in the morning before anybody else wakes up, and that's working for me, and I'm fine with that. I don't need some like hours long situation. I just need that little bit of time before everybody wakes up and starts to annoy the shit out of me. My final goal number 8, cultivating big picture adulting practices. The mini goal was to get finances in order, and we kind of had to this month. We filed our taxes early in fucking February. Like, what's that even like when you work for yourself? Because we're about to get pre-approved for a mortgage, so getting our finances in order was really important. I started regular savings deductions, which I'm feeling really good about. Checked my credit score. Holy shit. So yeah, feeling good. Gave myself a big thumbs up for that one. So I'm feeling really good about most of my quarterly goals. And I'll talk a little bit more about the new quarterly goals I said in that previous video when I begin to fill in my tending list. But before I do that, I need to take a look at the month in review, which I already filled out as well. The people I'm grateful for in March are our realtors. Our realtor here in Napa, the one who helped us buy this home and is our listing agent to sell this home. And then the one that we got hooked up with through the relocation company to find a home in Denver. They are both working their asses off for us, and I really appreciate that. The good things this month, I made a breakthrough in Illustrator. I'm taking a course about Illustrator, and I was about ready to throw it out the window. And suddenly I started to feel good about it. And that is a long time coming for me because Illustrator and I have always been in kind of a combative relationship. What I read and listened to, I read Addie LaRue and Unfuck Your Habitat for the book club, among other things, but I'm proud of myself for doing the book club and doing those. And Addie LaRue was not what I expected, and Unfuck Your Habitat was what I needed, especially in this time. So 2 good choices for me. Goals that are growing well. My work and home goals seem to be doing okay, even though they're twisting because of the move. My favorite memories from this month, I had a week very recently where one of my kids did not like turtle down in their bed. Like, they didn't lump into their bed into a depressed lump. They were out of their bed the whole time, like talking and being on Discord with friends and talking to us and being in the kitchen. And it has been a long time since we've seen that. It felt really good. I'm choosing grace over guilt about going to bed between 7 and 9 p.m. each night. I might not be asleep until 9:30 or 10, but I'm usually in bed because it hurts, and I felt so guilty about that for so long. But now I'm like, if my family wants to fucking hang out with me, they can fucking come to me, and they do. So I love that. And then I'm saying no to flying off the handle and saying yes to taking things one step at a time this next month, because patience, thy name is not Cindy Guentert-Baldo. Now that we have gone through the previous month, it is time to bust into these power sheets, get into the preparing stage so I can get my tending list filled out for the month of April 2021. 2021. God, what year is it? Holy shit. Part of me feels like right now that I just have too many things on my mind to do this page, but it does say to clear your mental and heart clutter to move forward with clarity, so maybe that's the perfect time to do this. This is kind of like a directed brain dump, I suppose. You'd think I already have the hang of it by now after doing these power sheets for a few years in a row, but sometimes it feels new every single week. It's no surprise, I'm sure, that all of the stuff on April really has to do with the move and the home and everything like that. My important to-dos this month all have to do, again, for the most part, have to do with the move. So listing the house and the last things that have to get done to do that, getting the pre-approval for the mortgage. We've already talked to the mortgage guy, but we need to get all the paperwork turned in and get the actual pre-approval. Our trip in April to go house shopping, putting offers in on houses, and I am working on something for freelance work that I'm excited about. I'm excited for the April trip and house shopping. I'm sure there's other things, but I drew a complete blank thinking about this because I'm so overwhelmed with the house stuff. On my mind, again, moving going smoothly, finding a house because we have to move, moving over all of our medical and school shit. That's just overwhelming for me. Plus, making sure my kids' mental health is okay during this whole process because it's a lot of changes for them. And I'm hopeful that we find the right buyer for this house and the right house for us in April. If we could end this month under contract in the new house and with somebody under contract in this house, that would be the most ideal way to end the month. Still haven't figured the calendar out. Not going to worry about it right now. I feel like there is something that is eluding me with the calendar, and I just don't know what it is yet. So now what I'm going to do is start pulling tasks from these quarterly goals and moving them to here so that we can get the monthly action items figured out. And you know what I haven't done, but I really should do, is count ahead of time how many there are, just so I can kind of keep track of it. I feel like it's one of those things that I just always forget about until the last minute. It's not like I want to fill up every single one of these. I don't want to go over the amount that is already here, the 10 monthly items, the 6 weekly items, and the 7 daily items. I don't want to fill it up either, but it's good to at least have an idea of those numbers in my head as opposed to having to figure it out while I'm doing it. This might be semantics. It's probably entirely semantics. All right, so going to goal number 1, incorporate moving content into all areas. This month will be an exciting month with the home hunting process and getting this house ready to sell. And my cat is just mad that Jesse's not laying him into the garage right now. So I decided to put, instead of daily vlog every day, to post a weekly vlog, which is something I am going to hopefully be doing over the course of the move to both help me manage the pre-planned ahead of time content and to document it. So it may be a whole week. There'll be a vlog going up every week. It may be for a whole week. It may be just for a day or two, depending on what I'm doing that week. And instead of create a planning a move series, what I decided to do was just incorporate those two together. The aspects of it will come out in those vlogs. And for the monthly ideas, I put hosting all giveaways. I have a lot of shit to get rid of. And then creating and filling in a Goodbye California spread in my bullet journal. The next goal, the mini goal, is to take 3 weeks off to move. So again, I kind of put some things together. For a monthly situation, I have planned all the batches out and then do everything for April. And then I decided to do Patreon advanced content on weekly, meaning every week I need to chip something off of my stuff that I'm doing for my break for patrons, like downloads, things like that. When April is done, all of the stuff I need ahead of time for my patrons when I am on my break is finished. Goal number 3, become a great vlogger. This was the goal I thought was going to be at least a little bit, on the back burner for this situation. The one I want to focus on this month is using Instagram stories each day. So that will be a daily habit that I put in. Next goal, establishing our new home. The big goal for this quarter is to move to Denver. We would really like to have that done by the end of June. Got a lot of action steps. There are the obvious ones: listing the old house, going on the house hunting trip, and getting the mortgage pre-approval, which all kind of need to happen right around the same time. And then for weekly ideas, I put pack, although I haven't decided if that's going to go on weekly or daily yet. By the time I finish in March, which I'm not quite done yet as of the filming of this, I should be a lot of the way packed and decluttered, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't still be doing some packing. So the idea basically is I think I'm going to do it for weekly, but again, not really sure. So we'll think about that for a hot minute while I go to the other goals. Oh, did I skip one? I did skip one. I forgot about my kids. Oops. Help K&R through the move. In previous months, there have been certain goals where they overlap. Currently, I have basically overlapped most of my things for the kids. So I wanted to, take pictures with the places that they're interested in, but that's going to probably be with the Goodbye California spread, filling that in. So I'm going to overlap that with work and the kids, and then having the kids pack up finish their rooms, get their rooms ready to go, which is a process in and of itself. So that's their own thing because they also really need to be involved with that. But I also want the packing when they're here to be something they help with, that it's not just me. All right, now we're going to protect my physical health with habits and practices to get through the move without dialysis. So all of these habits went on to the daily. I was going to say no soda, but I'm going to allow myself one per day. I haven't been drinking dark sodas, but I've been drinking ginger ales. And I've kind of allowed myself to get a little deeper into the ginger ale than I wanted to. So getting strict about my water intake, I am going to reduce to see how many times I can reduce it to one soda per day. And then fruit or vegetables with every meal. I have them every day, but I'm not always good at having them with every meal. And then 10K steps a day to keep me from being too super sedentary. And that's going to be the one that goes in my bullet journal for my year of healthy habits. Moving forward, to cultivate patience during this process. Oh yeah. So for this one, I wound up having a few things that not only are good for my mental health, but good for my kids' mental health, and my husband as well. Monthly, I have setting up a whiteboard and using it to keep track of all the things that need to get done each week and the achievements. One of my kids specifically has been requesting some sort of gold star situation to help motivate them with positive feedback. And then the weekly situation is to hold a family meeting, either me and Jess or me and Jess and the kids, to check on our progress and to update each other on what's going on. And then my daily idea is to take advantage of the California weather while I can and sit outside with my coffee each morning. Those are all things that I think will be really great to help keep me on the level this month while we're in the home selling and buying, the thick of the home selling and buying process. And then the final goal is smooth move, yo. And so there's a whole bunch of them that I had potentially to come onto here for the smooth move, yo. But a lot of it is going to just sort of be mushed together. Collecting all of the important documents and the vet records will be within that. And some of the medical stuff I'm going to wait on until May when we get a little bit closer. Hopefully updating the cat shots is going to happen before April even hits. I have an appointment next week, and then we'll find out about the microchip situation. But yeah, so the biggest one for the smooth move is to just make sure we have all of the important documents in our hand before we leave California. We have 9 monthly things, 4 weekly things, and then 4 daily things, plus the additional one in my bullet journal. So I think that this is a good mixture for this page. So I will get that set up in a hot minute. So for my encouraging words, I just wrote trust the process, because it's going to be a lot of process. I can't predict how things are going to go. Follow the process, do what we need to do in terms of selling and buying. It'll turn out. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. The priority is buying and selling homes, right? The goal is to get through August under contract. We can't predict if that's going to happen or not. So that's the priority. There's a bunch of goals that overlap, which I'm totally okay with. I decided to put listing the California house as my top priority because we can't buy a new house until we are under contract with this house, blah, blah, blah. And then the thing I marked with my little, oh, hi, Mark, with my little leaf as the thing that will be that will pay off the most for me in terms of my well-being in all of these things is to work on the Patreon advanced content so that I can feel really good about. They would be fine if I didn't do anything for them for a few weeks, but I'm not fine with that. So getting some of that worked on is going to make me feel a whole hell of a lot better. I used the Make It Happen little washi tape strip because that's really something I need to remember this month. And then at the bottom, I used the little letters to spell out breathe ! Just to remind me to take a breath every day. I'm not going to meditate. That's not my thing, but I need to just make sure to not stress the fuck out. So that is my tending list for the month of, what is it, April? God, I don't even know when it is anymore. It's going to be a busy month. I mean, this next entire quarter is going to be a busy quarter, but I've said this already. Probably in this video, and I know I've said it in other videos, but all of the time I have spent refining my system, my goal setting system, my planning system, all of the time I have spent over the last few years doing that where it felt kind of like I might have been a little excessive or a little bit over the top with how I figured out my planning shit. This is where I hope that there is some payoff when I can utilize this system to really help me through this process without dropping a bunch of balls or completely losing my shit. There's going to be some shit losing because that's just what happens when you go through all this. But if this move can be pulled off in at least a somewhat organized fashion, I will feel really good about it. My husband flat out admitted that while he is the best at execution, I am the organizer of the family. And so that is the strength that I am bringing to this conversation. And I am just hoping all of my planning time and all of my planning practicing will come to some amount of fruition. We shall see. Make sure to subscribe and you'll find out more because like this says here, weekly vlogs, all that good shit. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, something that's coming up in April that you are either looking forward to or super dreading. I always like hearing about this because everybody's lives are different and it's always really fascinating to me to kind of see where other people are at. I know there's several of you who are also moving in my community, so that's interesting, but I just love to hear what's coming up in April for you. Good, bad, ugly, whatever the case may be. Thanks so much for watching. Remember what I said, subscribe, stay safe, wash your hands, and until next time, friends, peace out.